not holding the door open for people.
I think the food here is like really sweet compared to American food.
Spitting. I hate seeing bodily fluid.
I guess people wear more baggy clothes here, which is not as common in Copenhagen.
I think the food, because it's too much flavors for French people.
The lack of trash cans here, it's kind of sending me into a spiral.
These are things in South Korea that will send you into a coma. Where are you from?
I'm from Spain.
What is something in South Korea that will send people from Spain into a coma?
I think this is a basic answer, but probably not holding the door open for people. Like in Spain, if someone comes behind you and you don't hold the door open, that's kind of really, really rude. But here it's really normal, so it took a bit of time to get used to.
Based on your personal opinion, why do you think it's normalized in South Korea, like not to hold the door for other people?
I think in general, that kind of outreach is not very popular. I think people tend to be more in their own bubble. Like in Spain, it's very communal and very much about helping each other out right away, but Koreans are just a little bit more reserved, which is not bad, but yeah. Yesterday, I was walking. I guess Hongdae is a pretty popular foreign area, so that's why they come here. But I was walking and I just saw two older people with a huge megaphone on their back holding a homosexuality is a sin sign. So it was, yeah, I think that would also be a bit of a culture shock to anybody, I guess.
Where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
What have you noticed in South Korea that would send Nigerians into a coma?
I feel like the K-drama has already prepared us for everything that we're seeing now. So far, there have been nothing that really shocked me. Apart from the paid bags in the market, it's so annoying to have to pay for polythene bags. Yeah, it's so annoying.
How is it back home?
Back home, you get free polythene bags, and even if the polythene bag gets torn or something, we can easily get a replacement. But here, we have to pay for it, and I'm the first time I went to the mart, I was like, why are we paying for polythene bag? They say sustainability. I'm like, what's going on?
And you mentioned earlier on that K-dramas prepared you for Korea. What has it prepared you for?
I feel Korea is very similar, a little bit similar to K-drama, apart from the love life and all those shit. But everything else is similar. The bus system, the way it's so easy to get food delivery and everything. And the way they portray the culture, the drinking culture, the partying culture is the same thing when I came here. But I think something that is not really talked about in Korea is the church cults. Because I was almost a victim of one, but thank God I'm now in a better church. So.
Where are you from?
I'm from France.
What are things in South Korea you've noticed that will send French people into a coma?
Let's be really honest. First, Korea is a wonderful country and good society, but it's very different from Europe, So there's a lot of some difference, that I've really noticed. More in the relationships. In the relationships, Korean people are very open, but not minded. They love foreigners, but they're not open-minded. They're very traditional.
Where are you from?
Chicago.
What are things in South Korea that will send people from Chicago into a coma?
I think the food here is really sweet compared to American food. There's not a lot of salty food, so definitely the sweetness of the food here is different.
And how is it back home?
It's a lot more salty, a lot more kind of the McDonald's here is a little healthier, less grease and oil and salt, if that makes sense, so yeah.
And which of the McDonald's do you prefer?
Probably back at home, honestly.
Like your burgers very greasy?
Yeah, yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York City.
What is something you've noticed in South Korea that will send New Yorkers into a coma?
I'd say New Yorkers are definitely a lot more straightforward when it comes to certain things.
Is this your first time out here?
Yes, this is my first time in Seoul. In fact, in Asia alone, so.
How did you get into the Korean culture?
I got into it probably just mostly through the social media and just having interest in learning about different cultures as well.
If you're planning a trip to Korea or any part of the world, our channel sponsor for today, Holofly, has got you covered. Holofly eSIMs offers services in over 200 destinations with unlimited data available in over 150 of them. Holofly eSIM packages ranges from 5 days to 90 days with unlimited data, and Holofly has now included the feature of data sharing, hotspot tethering for their European eSIM. You can customize your plan from 7 days to 90 days in 67 destinations, and you only need to pay for the exact amount of days you need. Holofly eSIMs also offers hotspot feature in over 129 destinations, which is a game changer for travelers like you. And with the 24/7 support team to solve any problems you may have, I think this is an offer you shouldn't miss out on. So if you'd like to check out Holofly eSIMs, click the link in the description, or you can use my code KEXPLORER to get a 5% discount off of your order. Well, thanks again to Holofly for making this video possible. Where are you from?
America.
What part of America?
Virginia.
What are things in South Korea that would send Americans into a coma?
I would probably say spitting. I hate seeing bodily fluid. So it's kind of just like people spit everywhere, but I haven't seen it that much here, like in Hongdae. We've been here for like 3 consecutive times every single day. But like back where I am like living at for my dorm, I see people spit and it's kind of disgusting. I don't like it. I don't like spitting, but like honestly, these streets are kind of clean, but the one back home is not.
Wait, so like back home, like in Virginia, don't they speak?
I don't really pay attention to other people, but when they do like the throat thing,
What's that?
I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It's disgusting. I can't do it in front of people. But like the throat thing and then like, ugh, it's.
Where are you from?
I'm from Copenhagen.
What are things you've noticed in South Korea that would send people from Copenhagen into a coma?
I guess people wear more baggy clothes here, which is not as common in Copenhagen. And I've also noticed that there are not as many colors in the outfits here, which is also a bit different from Copenhagen, I'd say.
What is the style like back home?
It's a bit more colorful. I think it's playing less with the shapes, maybe, compared to here.
Where are you from?
Well, originally from Philly, but I live in Phoenix, Arizona.
What are things in South Korea you've noticed that's going to send Americans into a coma?
I feel like the lack of trash cans here, it's kind of sending me into a spiral. I feel like I'm always holding my trash. I'm just used to like trash cans being on every corner, like in America. It doesn't matter even what city you're in. But here, there's literally no trash cans anywhere. So if you ever come to Korea, just find somewhere to throw out your trash before you go out because you won't find a trash can anywhere.
What is something you've actually like noticed that is similar in Korea versus America?
The people, like people will say like people here are really like different, and yeah, the culture is different in some ways, but I feel like people, like depending on where you go, can be just as personable than in like the States. Like we've been out in like Itaewon, been out in Hongdae, been out in Gangnam, and we've come across really nice, kind people just like anywhere in the States. So people are not so different than you might think.
Where are you from?
Switzerland.
What are things in South Korea that you've noticed that will send people from Switzerland into a coma?
In Europe, in overall Switzerland, where I'm from, it's like very individualistic in the sense where you kind of do your own thing and stuff. But I find that in Korea, people, like if you're a foreigner, they say, oh, where are you from? Like they get interested in you. In Switzerland, because it's a country that's very multicultural, you have people like me, like I'm Swiss, but like I'm Polish blood, so I'm like Polish descent, and then people from like Africa, from wherever that come to Switzerland. So it's very diverse, but here it's like very unicultural. So people come and they're like very interested in you and they say, oh, where are you from? How can I help you? So I just find that like the level of respect that they have here for people has been very, very nice to me, at least. It's very shocking coming as a Swiss person, but it's very individualistic. It kind of like mind your own business, yeah.
Where are you from?
France.
What is one thing about South Korea that would send French people into a coma?
I think the food, because it's too much flavors for French people. It's very fermented and very fishy and very spicy. And I think French people can't handle their spice.
What type of food like do you have in France?
A lot of stewed food, I guess, and grilled meats and a lot of veggies. A bit less flavorful because it's more like simple. The spices are usually just like a few herbs and salt, like compared to here where all the flavors are a bit punchy.
Where are you from?
So I'm from Cyprus, it's in Europe.
What are things in South Korea that would send people from Cyprus into a coma?
The way people here act to strangers. In Cyprus, I think we're all very friendly to each other. I mean, we're also judgmental, but we're also very friendly. But I do feel like in Korea, if someone hits you accidentally or they're rude to you by accident, they won't even say a little bit sorry, they won't even look back at you. They just go about their business. It does kind of sting a little bit. You have to get used to it. I feel like it's just how they live here.
And like, have you bumped into anyone today?
Yes, I have bumped into someone today on the subway, and they were clearly late for something, so they were like running, but they bumped me really hard on the shoulder, but they didn't care.
Where are you from?
I'm from Denmark.
What are things in South Korea that would send people from Denmark into a coma?
I would say the use of the honorifics and how they treat people they don't know, older and younger. We don't do that in Denmark. It's very low-key, very chill.
Where are you from?
We're from Denmark.
What are things in South Korea that will send Denmark people into a coma?
We don't look Korean at all, but they still try to speak Korean to us. In Denmark, if you see any kind of foreigner, anyone that doesn't, like, even if they try to speak Danish to you, the Danish people would just switch so quick.
I would also mention like the customer service. It's very formal and very attentive, kind of almost following you around the shop. We don't do that in Denmark. They just let us look at the stuff and then we could just go to the counter and buy our stuff. But here they're
very attentive.
Where are you from?
I'm from Spain.
What are things in South Korea that will send people from Spain into a coma?
First of all, it's kind of daring experience that I have here in Korea. It's so different from our cultures because here, for example, my experience is like I have to spend 6 days per week with my ex-girlfriend, and it was kind of hard because if you don't meet her like 6 times per week, they get like annoyed with you. From our point of view, it's like we meet our girlfriends or boyfriends, depends on the person, I think. 2 times, 3 times per week maximum, but here is like all the time you have to give. You see couples all the time, and after they broke up, they go to another person. It's like, it's so fast. It's like they transfer from one person to another person. They don't have this kind of time to think about themselves. They always need someone.
Where are you from?
California.
California.
What are things in South Korea that will send people from California into a coma?
The food, the prices, just the environment of Seoul itself is very catered towards the Asian American trends that are very popular in Southern California.
I came here in California, it's just like all the prices are crazy, and coming here seeing how much clothes are and how food is like for like 4 people you can pay $20, have a great meal. But in California, like quality is down, prices are up. It's just, and you can also use public transportation to go anywhere in like Seoul. But in Cali, it's like, it's either you drive or you don't go anywhere else. Price of Uber, it's like minimum is like $20 to go 5 blocks. But here I drove 40 minutes to go to one place and it was like $9 and there's no tip needed.
Where are you from?
Amsterdam.
What are things in South Korea that will send people from Amsterdam into a coma?
The thing is, Amsterdam is pretty bad, like with like what people are used to. So maybe like having to carry your trash around, like because we have bins everywhere around the city. But like in Korea, like you have to take your stuff home. I feel like most of the time. So